Selection practices. We're just saying, okay, if you're going to be selecting an animal, what are some of the things that you look for? If you're going to be purchasing, because some of you are working with farmers, and some farmers will say they want you to assist them, they're going to purchase goats, and they want you to assist them in selecting what they think is a good animal. The breed, you have to know the breed, because why it's important to know the breed?
Meat animal or dairy?
So you start looking at the physical characteristics, because if the farmer says he wants a Nubian, I certainly could drag a boar come to him, because it would have certain physical characteristics that he'll be looking for. So the breed is important, right? We speak about body conditioning scoring. You have heard about that before, in terms of saying if the animal is either too skinny or too fat, and we have the numbering system that we use to help to guide us in doing that, right? And as he had mentioned before, in terms of why are you breeding this animal? What do you want? What is your objective at the end of the day? Are you trying to get milk from it, or are you trying to get meat? Or if it is that you have, now you want to do meat, but in the future you want to do milk, and that is when we speak about our dual purpose animals. Or maybe you just want wool. So you have to use what it is that you want from the animal to decide which animal you will select, right? Performance and pedigree data, especially for persons who are buying breeding animals. You want to have the track record of the animal, how it has been performing from it was a kid to other stages, right? And what is going to be important here, when you're talking about performance and pedigree data, what is important that you need to have access to make sure that you're making the right decision? And where are you going to get that from? Records. So let me just start from very early that record keeping is very important. It is not something that you're doing and it's just an annoyance to you, and we're going to see further down how important it is and why it is that you keep records, right? So record keeping is especially important where that is concerned. Industry standards, because if you're going to rear an animal, you must know what the industry is looking for. If the industry said they want a heavy animal and it's supposed to have a lot of fat around it, that's what you have to produce, because that is what the industry wants, right? So you have to be cognizant, you have to be aware of what it is that they want. And also they talk about the genetic evaluation. Remember, we're speaking about breeds, so you want to know the genetic material that you're having, how close to the true breed that you're having. Or maybe if you're commercial producers, you're not too keen about if it's a 90% or a 80% or 100% of that particular breed. You're doing commercial, so once you can get an animal that has adequate size and meat quantity for you, a crossbreed, that is fine for you, right? Parts of the animals, I'm not going to spend long here, because if you have your goats, you must be learning some parts of it. And it's always good to know, because sometimes, especially for those persons who say, boy, the vet is very expensive. But you might have a vet friend that you're trying to call. You know, some of us try to get diagnosis over the phone. Even sometimes for ourselves, we go on the internet and we check to see what is wrong with us or what is wrong with the animal. So it's good to know the different parts of your animal, because if you're talking about the animal and the vet wants to get an idea, he knows the parts of the animals, he knows the scientific name of the animal. When you're there telling me it's under the neck where it's down, you know, under the front leg and all this sort of stuff. So kind of make sure that you're familiar with all the different terminologies. And this is something you can print off anytime and you can look at. So I'm not going to spend long on this, right? Only to say that, especially when we're speaking about body conditioning scoring, where on the animal is one of the important parts that they look at. And we also look at the top line. We always speak about if the back is sunken, or, you know, where we feel it across the transverse process of the bone there, we try to see if it's too fatty or it's too skinny, so we can try to score the animal, right? So these are things that we'll learn later, because we're just doing an overview of it now, and this is what we're showing as well, to say that is part of the process of detecting the animal, to give a scoring for the animal. And what is the ideal score for an animal? We have scoring from what? From which number to which number? What is the range? From 1 to 5. 1 is what? Very skinny, right? So 1 don't mean he's in first place, mean he's very good. 1 is very skinny, and 5 is what? Very fat. So in between those, which one they say is really an ideal weight that they should have? Between 2.5 to 3. right? And sometimes we will learn too that depending on the breeding stage of the animal, we will have different body condition scoring, and all this you will learn about later, all right? We spoke about this already, so I'm not going to waste a lot of time on this, because remember we were saying that if you're going to go into production, what are you looking for? Are you going to go for wool? Do you just want it as pet? Because some people just love it as a hobby. They're not really into making money from it. They just like to see goats and they like to have it, right? And so therefore sometimes you have to know this, because guess what? It determines your approach to it, to your whole production and planning and future investments. So you have to start off, and you as a person who's working with farmers have to know why the farmer is doing it. What is his objective? What is his main goal, right? Because you are doing it with one goal in mind. You know, you may see a farmer, you're doing it in mind to say he wants to make money and he wants to increase his meat capacity and all of that. When maybe no, he probably has some crops and that is his major thing, but he just have some animals like pets. So when you are there planning for him, because it's like you there making the plan for him, and you're wondering why he's not following your plan because you did such a wonderful plan to expand this meat market. No, because that's not what his objective was or his desire. Maybe he just wants the kind of quality animals that he has there, and all he needs is for you to help him to keep them healthy and in good condition. Especially sometimes in Jamaica, we have what we call the native goats, the little runt goats as we will call them, but some have the nice big breed Boer goats and Nubians and they're crossing and everything. You may find a farmer that when you see the farm with the little goats, the first thing comes to your mind, oh, I have to upgrade these animals. Yes, they're small and they're skinny, but I know if you cross it with the Boer and the Nubian, but guess what? That's what the farmer loves. He doesn't want to upgrade it any further. He likes having his little native goats, right? So always be aware of that. And so we're going to move away from that. And like I'm saying, it depends if you're, I wouldn't say we're rearing animals for hides, but it's one of the spin-off from slaughtering the animals.